What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. It is time for another weekly wrap-up. This time, I'm just going to do my long fiction. I've decided I'm going to separate my short fiction, like my short stories and my novellas. I'm going to do that in a separate check-in video weekly. I'm going to probably throw it up tomorrow and just call it Short Story Saturdays or Weekly Reading Wrap-Up Short Fiction. I don't know. I just want to separate the two because I know there are some people who like short fiction and that's all that they're interested in, and some folks who are just interested in books. So I'm going to separate them, and I want to do it weekly because talking about 14 to 15 short stories in one video is just way longer. So I've split them, and that's just how we're going to go forward. And this one is about books. The books that I read, what I'm still reading, and what I plan to read next. So as far as what I read, I completed nothing. I don't know if I'm just going through a phase or what's happened, but it was DNF City for me this week. First up, let's talk about Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. I really wanted to love this one. It's the book that a bunch of us March birthday babies chose to be our buddy read together over in the Wizardly Duo Discord. I wanted to love this one. I wanted to enjoy it. And the majority of the people reading it love it. They're all giving it like 4.5 to 5 stars. I seem to be the only one that does not like it. So much so that I finally DNF'd it. At 30% of the way in, I had pretty much decided to DNF it, but some of my friends were like, oh, it's gonna get better. It really gets good at the end. I tried to keep going by reading a chapter per day, and I just can't. I do not like anything about the book. Nothing. It's a 4 POV book. 4 different characters. You would think out of those 4 characters, I would like them. I don't like any of them. I can't tell what the author is trying to do. Is he trying to make them likable and then not, or great? Like, is he going for grim? I can't tell what he's going for. I also have no idea what the plot is. Thought in the prologue, I had a little bit of an idea of what the plot was going to be, and it turns out we're just following these 4 teenagers as they grow up. Like, it seems to be it's over a year or 2 of their lives as they're leaving their families and going along a path that they chose, and as they're coming into their abilities. None of their stories were engaging to me. Nothing about it made me care. I didn't care about any of the 4 characters. I didn't care what they were doing. I just didn't care. There were also things about it that were very repetitive that I didn't like. Everybody was measured as being over 6 feet. This person was over 6 feet. This person was at least 6 feet. This person was round about 6 feet. Like, 6 feet seemed to be the unit of measurement for all of the fellas in this story. It was worded that way so much that it started jolting me. Like, every time I'd run across it, it would pull me out for me to go, okay, there has to be another way to measure the height, to tell me the height of this character, you know, without saying it the same way every time. These 4 characters, they all shared the same dream or vision, and the author, for some reason, typed out that same dream over and over and over. There would be a few changes, like there would be 3 words that this one would have at the end, and 3 words this one would have, and 3 words this one would have, and 3 words this one would have. But the whole rest of the dream, word for word, was the same. And it was like after the 5th or 6th time of that dream being repeated when they would have it, I was like, this is a waste of space and time. Like, just say, you know, so-and-so fell into a restless sleep and had the same dream yet again, except this time the voice said this at the end, you know, something like that. Like, I just got tired of rereading that same dream over and over. Finally, yesterday, I'm listening to my prescribed 1 chapter a day just to try and get through the second half of this book. And I just could not do it. I could not bring myself to even finish 1 more chapter. I just did not like it. I was over it. DNF'd. Next on the chopping block was War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that our news is inundated with what is happening over in Russia. More along, I think it is, I don't like reading fictional books that mirror real life politics, even if they're historical. Not when that is the main theme of the story, the main thing we're following. Everything, the characters, all of the dialogue is this political happening, this war in Russia. DNF'd it. You're probably wondering, Leslie, did you read anything you enjoyed this last week? I did finish the last 2 volumes of the Dressrosa arc for One Piece, a manga by Ikaro Oda. And where that arc leaves off, the one that it starts, brings in a bunch of characters we've met in previous arcs. And what it really made me want to do is reread from the beginning, because Una and I read the first 70 volumes a long time ago. I have forgotten some of the ways that we know these people, and I want to go back and perhaps start from the beginning and just keep going, but maybe only read a few chapters per day, because there's so much going on with so many different characters that I don't see how Ikaro Oda could recap it for me. So I'm thinking I might want to start a reread. I have a couple of books that I'm still reading. On audiobook, I'm still listening to The Stranger Times by C.K. McDonald. This book is so good. It's what I need. It's been keeping me alive as far as reading this week. The narrator, Brendan McDonald, is amazing. He's Irish, but the story is about English people. So he narrates in Irish, but then when he talks for the characters, he gives them their different English accents depending on where they live. They all have such personality. Today, I learned a lot. So this is an urban fantasy series. The Stranger Times is a newspaper that reports on the strange things that people like to call and report. Sightings of aliens, strange creatures, things that go bump in the night. They have a day, 1 day a month, the public can come in and report their stories, and it's called Loon Day. Oh man, that was so funny. The one thing that I love discovering in urban fantasy, the one thing I always wait for in that first book of the series, is how the author is going to explain how there are fairies and werewolves, wizards, how they still exist, and why are they in hiding. I absolutely loved how C.K. McDonald chose to impart that information to us in this book. I thought it was fantastic. It's different than any other urban fantasy I've read as far as the explanation for that. Absolutely loved it. I've already got the second audiobook purchased, and I hope that I'm able to get to it this month. I am going to visit my friend Heather in a couple of weeks. That'll be a lot of time in the car, and I'm hoping I will have a chance to listen to that book on the way to or from her house. And then the only other book that I have going right now, I started Piranesi by Susanna Clark yesterday. I'm already a good bit of the way in. And what happened and why I read so much of it last night is because I need to know what's going on. This thing made absolutely zero sense to me. I was so confused. There's just random words capitalized here and there. I can't tell if this is reality. Is it a dream? Is this person a coma patient? How is this happening? And it has weird subtitle headings that are like 8 miles long because of the way that Piranesi chooses to tell time is a description pretty much. But the more you read, like all of a sudden, I was in love with this story, and I cannot tell you why. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm having fun trying to figure out what's happening. And I think now I've decided that it is reality. Like, this isn't someone having a dream. I need to know. I want to know. I have to know. And that's just driving me forward. I was having a lot of fun with it. All of a sudden, I can't even tell you where that happened. Like, where did I cross the line and realize, all of a sudden, I was like, I'm having a good time with this. So it's one of those, you just have to keep going. You're gonna start off and you're going, what in the hell is this? What am I reading? This makes no sense. Just give it a shot. Just keep going. That's all I'm saying, and I think you might fall in love with it too. Now, that is it. That's all the books that I read or tried to read, what I'm still reading. What am I gonna read next? Once I finish Piranesi, I'm gonna go right into Stringers. Stringers is the newest science fiction novel by Chris Panettiere that is going to be coming out in April. This is an arc, so I want to read and review that and have that up for you guys soon. Probably the only one I'll have time for before I leave to go to Heather's. I don't want to be in the middle of a book when I go on my trip because I doubt I'm gonna be doing any reading whatsoever while I'm at Heather's. And that will take care of this wrap up. That's all the things I read or what I tried to read, what I'm still working on, and what I plan to read next. Are there things in books that will cause you to DNF? Like, are you like me, do real world politics when that is the main gist of the story, the main focus, what everything's about? Is that something you care to read about? Would that cause you to DNF? Even if we weren't having issues with Russia right now, I still bet I would not have enjoyed War and Peace. Am I alone? Let me know in those comments down below. Guys, have a fantastic rest of your day, a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in the next one.